From the 30th of the 10th month of 1441, I was not disappointed with this Demonology month. It is finished. If we are going to consider possible empirical origins of the mythology, rather than the dates of composition and release, we say the general chronological order of the texts we are going to consider here is Goetia, Daimonium, Secrets of Solomon, A Witch's Handbook from the trial records of the Venetian Inquisition, edited and translated by Joseph H. Peterson, An Unfolding of Phasis by Beldam of Deathwave Nexian, and edited by Erica Fravel, False Prophet, Volume 1, editions 4 and 5 by Temple of Blood, Predator, Temple of Blood, restricted circular issues 1 through 3, Coronzone 4, Mark of Cain by Asha Shadim, and The Deplorable Word by Constantine Charagma and Erica Fravel. I declare this Nexian established. Coronzon 4 by Martinet Press strikes the expected varied notes, be it more blasphemous than before, that one has come to expect with its 33 parts. The blasphemy is more about the concept of merely inherited faith and merely political faith, though it shows a connection of the influence of alternative faiths into politics and media. It shows of the art, science, and fantasy inherent in dark spirituality. False Prophet, Volume 1, Edition 5, by Temple of Blood, teaches us that the darkest of mythology is connected to the sinister political and other social orders. Anyone can be programmed into real-world and psychological evil. Some level of authority and ability is available to all. False Prophet, Volume 1, Edition 4, by Temple of Blood, reminds us that Islam is not this entirely new religion, and it also speaks of a sinister religion that predates what is typically talked about as organized religion. Some turn to Temple of Blood for a more active form of what people turn to the Order of Nine Angles for in terms of philosophy. Rituals and fiction will at some time not be enough. Secrets of Solomon, A Witch's Handbook from the trial records of the Venetian Inquisition, supplies reason to think Satanism spread as a result of persecution, albeit in diluted and otherwise corrupted forms. It formed a coherent type of religion reaching into the unknown areas of life with known materials. An unfolding of Phasis by Beldam of Deathwave Nexian, and edited by Erica Fravel, gets into areas most might not know about David Myatt and Anton Long. The Order of Nine Angles does get into Greek terminology and other origins, but generally it can be said to be about post-Enlightenment theology with a sinister twist that uses other movements to its own ends. Deathwave Nexian seems to be the least threat of criminality and perversion from Order of Nine Angles groups, because in its striving for personal discovery and fulfillment, it is explicitly not about extremism. Goetia Damonua by Martinet Press is a sort of masterpiece for those who want the purely satanic take on the Goetia with an openness to remove the fluffiness of some grimoires and the lack of getting overtly technical like the Goetia playlist generally is. Well, I share a lot of experiences on that, but it is still scholarly in Kabbalah, Latin, and other areas, though. It warns of some possibilities of experiences, but shares little in a way that is slightly more uplifting than most views of the subject outside of the Church of Hermetic Sciences are Ordo Templi Astarte. Mark of Cain by Asha Shadim seems to have needed the satanic panic of my childhood and young adult years blending into the post-September 11th, 2001 fears of terrorism and internet culture to produce his Lilith Society out of his sect of Angra Mainyu. There is interesting artistic expression and scholarship, but it needs work on its conclusions and format, suggesting criminal possibilities without moral condemnation and encouraging suicide renders this group a very obvious threat to society, but how strong their influence is remains unknown. And I don't know if they move their society onto something less searchable, but lilinsociety.org or com or whatever it is down. The Deplorable Word by Konstantin Chiragma and Erica Fervel. It's supreme in its artistic summary of void worship and the path to it from commonplace Satanism, while not as far-reaching as what the art means to me, and as is possible. The scholarship really puts the matter into an understandable format that is truly multicultural. Predator 3 mentions 8 saints of child murderers, how some are willing to brainwash society at any cost, a sisterhood connection of human sacrifice and destruction of bodies, militants gone rogue, and bullying. Predator 2 mentions how a child can be raised in Satanism or was prepared for it by how they were raised. Have nature, nurture, the predatory philosophy, the experience of the forbidden, and surviving hardship convinced us. Predator 1 reminds us of real-world tools and signs to our ends to connect with the misanthropy that can lead us to being excessively harsh on others. I also started to record comments on and presentations of Borhul and the Old Ones related fiction to prepare for the coming political choices and the ridiculousness the mundanes have placed themselves into. There is always something more than human are usual facts. Never close the temple.